Hello there, Servum17 once again. This is my ReCore walkthrough. This is mission 8, it's a friend in need, hybrid Hoard, and leg up. We're also going to be moving towards the next dungeon, which is the core foundry, and it's another pretty fun area. But this is an opportunity to farm actually if you want it, because we're going to be able to dig up a bunch of green spider creatures, and if you steal their cores, it will never stop spawning the spider creatures for you to dig up. So not only can you farm the digging achievement as Mac and get your 20 or 30 digs or however many you need for your achievement, but you can also get some exceptional rare cores, which will give you quite a lot of energy to then put into your buddies. And I'm going to only do this once or twice to show you that you can do it, and then I'm going to get to business. Bear in mind, folks, the moment that you destroy it and you complete the objective, all the dig spots that have turned up here and make it look a little bit like an albino Dalmatian are going to disappear. Do you see them all? All the white spots here? They all vanish. They are just instanced for this specific mission. So do it for as long as you want, and you can maybe max out all your shit. I don't know, I only did it for about 5 minutes on my first run and realised that you could do that. But you'll notice these creatures are pretty high levels, so you can get farm some levels, farm some cores, and just knock yourself out. But this is going to be leading to an NPC who's going to give us our next buddy, who's going to be called Seth, who is this kind of timid and frightened spider octopus dude. And he introduces a platforming sequence that I think is really, really fun. He adds a great measure of enjoyment to the game, and I'm glad he's part of it. But it has to be said, guys, you know, every good thing I say about this game is going to come with an immense footnote of something bad. There are moments where the game tells you what robots are needed inside of the dungeons, and I don't know if it's like a specification that this guy's quite good in here, or we recommend this guy, or if it's literally you need this guy to progress. But there are moments where it tells you that you need Seth, and you don't. And there are moments when it tells you that you need Seth, and you actually need that flying dude. And I don't know why this is a thing. I don't know if it's a lack of insight by the developers, or an oversight, or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me being retarded and I didn't realise there was a secret path and I never found it. But I have experience in this game of certain dungeons requiring certain companions, and I didn't have them, so thus I couldn't do them. And at the very end of the game, there is a jump that I was trying for about 20 minutes to do, and I did every trick I knew in the book to do to get it, and I couldn't get it. And I'd beat all the dungeons, all the game and everything. I'd done every jump in the game, and I'd done it fine. I'd had no real trouble. I'd figured it out. I'd worked my way through. I'd got my timing. I'm not too bad at this game. And I couldn't do it. So I went on YouTube to see if anybody had done it. And lo and behold, there was a bunch of videos. I'm like, oh, so it's not, you know, just impossible then. And then everybody I watched who did it, they used the flying ability. And I'm just like, really? There is a mandatory flying section to get to the end of this game, and it never mentions it. Never mentions it. Like, I don't get that. Why would they not mention that? That maybe it's a good time to use that flyer. Maybe they assumed that everybody would be using him because he's actually a really good companion. But this leads me to one of my biggest criticisms of this game. And it's fucking stupid. It's retarded. It is broken down mongoloid planet bullshit insane. Doesn't make sense. Each of your companions can be a different elemental colour for affinities. You'll get a blue guy, you'll get a red guy, you'll get a yellow guy. So each of those are going to give you a benefit against the enemies. If you could carry all those people at the same time, you would have strategy in battle that supersedes just your gun and just your anchor, and that would be great. But they let you have 2 at a time. Only 2. And do you know what this leads to, guys? This leads to moments where you'll pick somebody because you want to use them or you like them, and then you'll get into an area 5 to 10 minutes deep into a dungeon or into an area with no save point near it, so you have to fucking run for miles to get back, and you'll need Seth, and you don't have him. Or you'll need to break a rock, and you'll need Duncan, and you don't have him. Or you'll need to dig, and you need Mac, and you don't have him. Or you'll need that fucking flyer, and it never told you needed him, so you didn't have him. And do you know what that means? Every single time that you've got to load for 2 minutes to get back to the damn crawler, which, in their defense, they let you teleport from any place by going to your map and pressing Y, which is awesome. But then once you've changed back, there's another 2-minute load to get out of the fucking crawler again, to get back to where you were, and the fast travel points are just not spaced or paced intelligently at all, in my opinion. So there are some moments where you literally have to run, jump, dash for 5 to 10 minutes to get back to where you were. just because you took the wrong companion in a game that should have let you taken all the companions. And I don't know how you can defend it. Like, I've racked my brain on how they can think that this would work. Maybe it's too much on the system. How? How could carrying... Like, you only have one on screen at the same time. The other guys don't exist until you swap to them. So there's no reason that you should ever have this issue. So if it's not performance, then what is it? Balance. If this game cared about balance, every enemy wouldn't stun you, and they wouldn't have given them the ability to perma-stun you. So they don't give a fuck about balance. Like, every fight in this game is easy, unless the enemies decide to be assholes. Like, even if you don't understand the better ways to fight, the understandings of using the swapping companion attack, companions attacks themselves, lethal attacks, charge shots to stun and break shields, affinity bonuses, all that kind of stuff, if you ignore all of it... By the way, this is the platforming. How fucking cool is this? It's a little finicky on the detection of holding X, because I think it should be press X and not hold X, personally. Because I think it should be immediately snappy, rather than, did I hold it too early or too soon, did it register at all? But that's just me. I love the platforming with Seth. In fact, I think if there was more of it, this game would be better, because every time you do it, it makes you smile. It's not the most intensive thing, and I expected some incredibly devilish moments where you would need him, where there would be environmental hazards, so you had to cancel the run, do a double jump, boost around them, and then go back into the wall again, but it doesn't exist. The game barely asks that of you, and I assume that might be in some of the higher level dungeons that I've not touched, because I don't have 75 cores. And who the fuck does, dude? 75 cores? That's ridiculous. But it's replay value if you love the game, so that's cool. But as I was saying, sorry, about not having these companions, it can't be balanced because the game's unbalanced as piss. You will still have no issues if you don't adhere to any of the combat and you play this like a retard just holding the trigger. So that's not a good excuse. Performance-wise, the game already runs like shit, so they don't care enough about that. So then maybe there's the utility of it. Maybe they thought it to be too ungainly or awkward to swap between a bunch of dudes. You press one button and it swaps. It could just cycle. The game isn't precise enough or demanding enough for you to want to go from yellow to red immediately. So if you had to cycle a few times, it's not a problem. And additionally, it's even better because it would enable you to swap between people and get those attacks. So the only thing I can really think of is maybe they didn't want you being able to spam the call your swap between buddy attack, which is very powerful, because it wouldn't cool down then, would it, until you'd cycled through all of the dudes, which is only one more than you can carry. And I don't see how that would have had much of a profound effect. Remember that rock, by the way. We're going to come back here when we have Duncan. Very important. So that's not a good excuse. So the only thing I can think of is they intentionally did it to be dickheads. Because all it does, 100%, is block progress you would have made. So it's either needless padding or elongation of a game that's already long enough by arbitrary standards, or they did it because they didn't want the player to have fun. Because everything in this game, the inventory, the load times, your buddies, the leveling and the way it dictates damage, which I've yet to explain, but we will cover, don't you worry, the fast travel stations, everything about this game is designed to awkwardly make the player do things they don't want to do, which involves incredibly unoptimized load times that you should never see. And you know what? You know this log that we're playing right now? It's a fantastic log with really nice writing and quality characterization that's done in a simple way of giving us an idea into what the robots are and what Adams' motivation for making them and their personalities was. And it's a great piece of narrative. But unfortunately, it's in this fucking game that spends more time loading than it does playing and more time telling you to go back to some arbitrary place before you can continue, because it was just easier to make you do that than it was to design the game to be fluid and dynamic and fun.